Welcome to the Modern Truck High-Speed Shootout. In race 2 out of 12 in the inaugural season, we are here in one of several Trucks and Cup double headers. This time we have our second one in a row, and it is from the 1.5-mile oval just outside of Kansas City, Missouri, in Kansas City, Kansas. It is Kansas Speedway, the 1.5-mile oval. Some people consider it a cookie cutter. Some people consider it just a regular racetrack like all others. I am a little bit more split down the middle. If the racing is good, then maybe you shouldn't degrade it as a cookie cutter. But if you do think that the racing is, bad at times, then I don't blame you. It's very on and off through previous years. Now, the track has been repaved quite recently, so it could mean that we see a lot of single groove or single file racing, but it will also mean that there's going to be a lot of great runs depending on where one of these trucks runs as they go through the rest of this race, because they are going to wear down their tires at some point. The fuel window is currently looking like 25 laps, as it would for the Cup race, but right now there is no real assumption that they are going to have green flag pit stops because considering how wacky these guys were in practice, considering there were 3 practice crashes, it would not be surprising to me if we don't spend more than 25 laps in a row under green. Remember, in this league, for any division, a practice crash does not mean you get sent to the rear of the field. Only a qualifying crash or a failure in tech inspection would send you to the rear. In fact, a few guys at the front were the ones that actually wrecked. It was the 6 of James Fletcher who got turned by the guy right behind him, the 17 of Christian Coppola, about 45 minutes to go in the first practice. They ended up tangling up in the turn 2 wall. And then the 87 of Alex Pollock got together with the 72 of Anthony Elliott, who don't know where he is on the screen, but I'll pull him up. There he is. He's starting all the way near the back. He got involved in a spin off of 4, and then for whatever reason, the 28 of Isaac Nordic ended up just going complete haywire and smacked the turn 4 wall and then spun down near the pit lane. So obviously not the good situation that you want to see right there. But regardless, those were the 3 practice crashes from this time. Now, you might notice they're not parked on the pit lane. They're parked on the backstretch. Now, is this some sort of new rule? No, it's not. I just messed it up. I forgot to press the full pace lap checkbox when I started the session, which, since it's a saved race file, I can't go back. So I would have to do qualifying all over again, and it's hard to make that right. So we are just going to look through the starting lineup as we go, if that makes sense. So, this will be a bit weird, but in row 1 is Sonny Ross and Adam Wilson. Row 2 is James Fletcher and Jackson Snyder. Row 3 is Christian Coppola and Ricky Freeman Jr. Row 4 is Roberto Crown Jr. and Ryan Adema. Row 5 is Drake and Smith, and one of 4 new drivers, Ryan Catawa. In row 6 is Stephen Bianchi, another new guy, and Dakota Bennett. Row 7, Darian Arnsdorf, and our 3rd new driver, Carter Jones. In row 8, we have Darian Arnsdorf and... Nope, never mind. Wrong row. We have Alex Pollock and Brandon Allen. Row 9, we have Nate Relum and Felix Anderson. Row 10, we have Werner Daltrip and Lucas Holmes. In row 11, we have Isaac Nordic. And our 4th and last new guy, Lucas Al Capone. And then we have Micah Gingrich and Jules Rosen in row 12. Zachary Jones and Aiden Segal in row 13. Terry Lowell and... I forgot this guy. DJ Zygarde in the 71. So I guess that means 5 new entries. I forgot about that. Then, to wrap up this field, we have the 72 of Anthony Elliott, the 00 of Dan Wilkins, the 43 of Henry Brown, and the 24 of David Iller, who went to the back after blowing an engine during qualifying. So here we are from the Werner Industries 200. I forgot to even mention the race name. Let's get underway.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Keep an eye on your temps for this first segment. We shouldn't really be in danger of overheating, but it will, probably get up to about 220, so just keep an eye on that.
From Kansas Speedway, just outside of the famous city in western Missouri, it's 41 laps of racing in the second race out of 12 in the modern truck high-speed shootout. Sonny Ross on the inside, Adam Wilson on the outside. Last week's winner, which would be Zach St. John, is not in the race. Here they come off of turn number 4. It's a lovely 55 degrees with a light breeze, and it's cloudy. We have a green flag from Kansas Speedway in the trucks. Outside line already getting the mercy of Sonny Ross as she jumps up to the outside coming off of 2. Adam Wilson gets cornered in and loses several positions going into 3. He's now down the P4 as James Fletcher in the 6 truck just absolutely lost all his momentum. He's going to lose some spots. Sonny Ross still leads after lap 1, and Christian Coppola goes all the way up to 2nd after a great run. He's going to peek his nose in there as James Fletcher continues to lose spots. They're really jamming up and getting really squirrely as, like I said, James Fletcher, who lost all his momentum on lap 1, is now cornered in the top line. He's got nowhere to go but back, which I think that's what he might be doing right now. Let's see where he stands at the end of this lap. He's going to hold off the 31. He's going to put himself in P17, so that's 14, or actually just 15 positions lost in just 2 laps. Speaking of positions lost, Sonny Ross surrenders the lead. Now the new leader is kind of bushwhacker in a way, Christian Coppola. If you don't know what a bushwhacker is, it's essentially anybody in... Oh, do we have a wreck? No, I thought I heard something. Never mind. My ears are deceiving me. But Christian Coppola, he's one of the regular Cup guys who has made starts in the Truck Series, and, you know, he's not alone in that matter. Jackson Snyder, who's being moved up to 2nd right now, making a very clean pass on Sonny Ross, is also a Cup regular. In fact, he's also a team owner with Sooner State Racing, which has now finally expanded to a 4-car operation, with Snyder in the 11, Caden Robitaille in the 22, Dakota Bennett in the 84, and Felipe Ford in the 07. Bennett and Ford made their first starts at Iowa, although Dakota Bennett was a full-time starter in Season 2 with Pacific Racing, but didn't get a ride until the start of Season 3, when she was kind of hanging around there. In fact, I believe she is running trucks. Yes, there she is in the 25th position with the 84. Although she's not running for Sooner State, there is no real Sooner State Racing team in trucks, but she is running for Pacific Racing in that tied car. Even Lucas Holmes, I mean, look at all the crazy blocking that's going on. We're not even a quarter of the way through, but now we have a great battle for the lead. Here comes Jackson Snyder. It's the 2 Cup regulars going at it. Coppola, he needs to get a good run on the middle groove here. Lap 7 now in the books. He scraped the wall on the exit of the tri-oval. That's not going to give him a good run. Snyder's able to get a really good run in the apex of 1 and 2 and take a commanding lead over to 17 of Christian Coppola. In fact, all the drivers in the top 3 are Cup regulars. Jackson Snyder in the 99, Christian Coppola in the 17, and Werner Daltrip in the 5. And then as we go through the rest of the top 10, you have Sonny Ross in 4th, Felix Anderson in 5th, Anthony Elliott in 6th, Ricky Freeman Jr. in 7th, you have Adam Wilson in 8th, and Zachary Jones in 9th, and then rounding out the top 10 is Alex Pollock in 11th. Now Coppola doing what Sonny Ross did just a few laps ago, and now he's losing positions as Ross and Werner Daltrip are going to try and form a tandem. At least that's what they were going to try to do. Now Ross is actually being held up a bit. The 17 losing major ground. Now let's see how the 6 is doing of James Fletcher. He is back in 20th. As obviously not a good start for him, starting up near the front and then almost immediately being packed to the back. Not what you like to see. Coppola trying to get back on the inside of Sonny Ross. He makes that pass quite cleanly. In fact, Felix Anderson is going to burst his way onto the scene in that number 35 Hawaiian punch dodge. Let's take a look from his hood camera from the 4th position. I mean, yeah, it's mostly single-file racing with no wrecks, but guess what? It's better to have clean racing like this with a bunch of lead changes rather than single-file racing with no lead changes. At least these drivers are making moves. You know, it's not something like, oh, I don't know, maybe Season 1, Darlington. There would have been a great battle between Henry Rogers and Johanna Robbins if it wasn't for the fact that Rogers didn't really know how to make a move or go to the inside. He just wanted to stay up top the entire time. And basically for an hour and a half straight, they just raced each other, never really even batted an eye, and Johanna Robbins ended up winning. Not by much. I mean, Rogers didn't even make a move on the last lap. Like, I can understand on any track waiting until the last lap to make a crucial pass. But are you really gonna just hold off on that and miss an opportunity? Coming off of 4 into the tri-oval. I don't know if you want to call it a tri-oval or front stretch, whatever. Felix Anderson has propelled his way into the 3rd position. He's now ready to make an action. Snyder literally just lost the lead in an eyelash. In a blink of an eye. And now Felix Anderson making money moves through the field. He was back outside the top 5 just a few laps ago, and now he is fighting Werner Daltrip to get to the lead on lap 13. They are neck and neck, side by side at the line. The 5 barely edges him out by only 4/100ths of a second, although that very well could change, and it will change, as here comes Anderson to the lead on lap 14. Snyder's back in the picture. Man, I know some people will complain about no cautions, but come on. This is good racing. This is exciting racing, especially for the front of the field. Here's Daltrip now making a pass over Sonny Ross. And Christian Coppola going to make that pass as well. Ross will fall to 5th. There's about a 1-second gap between 5th and 6th right now. Ross is in 5th. Elliott's in 6th. He's pretty far back. You got Pollock back in 7th, Jones in 8th, Brown in 9th, and Arnsdorf in 10th. Another Cup truck whacker. Snyder back in the lead. Waltrip trying to get to his inside. Ross trying to get back into the picture. The field splits up again. Here comes Ross with a great run off of 2. I mean, Ross is the pole sitter, so, you know, that must mean that there was at least some sort of, communication in their team that went right, and that's why they're starting and staying up front as Jackson Snyder just hit the wall. He's got a flat tire, I think. He's got the right front going down, and that will bring out our first yellow of the afternoon in the Werner Industries 200. Jackson Snyder smacking the outside wall, and on lap 17, the fun will come to a close just like that. In the race back to the line, though, we still have a battle, and Werner Daltrip has beat out Christian Coppola, so your top 10 will be Daltrip, Coppola, Anderson, Ross, Elliott, Pollock, Brown, Arnsdorf, Jones, and Allen. I mean, let's take a look at what happened. I mean, you can see Snyder's going down pit lane. He must have had a right front going down or whatever, but he got a lot of that right front into the wall. I don't know if I thought he made contact with the 35 of Anderson. We'll see. Does he stay in the race or does he go to the garage? He is going to get some service. So let's take a look at what happened here. Oh. That's definitely a right front going down. I mean, you can see that he doesn't hit anybody. 35 doesn't touch him. Not even the 72 touches him. He just almost goes straight into the outside wall. Pollock has to barely miss him. very confusing, but regardless, it's what brings out our first yellow. Let's take a look from the cockpit view of the number 99 of Jackson Snyder. You can hear something sputtering in the car. Now, we just had our race off of pit road, and guess who emerged as the leader? Felix Anderson, with Anthony Elliott in second, Christian Coppola in third, World Ultra in fourth, Henry Brown in fifth, Darian Arnsdorf in sixth, Zachary Jones in seventh, Sonny Ross in eighth, losing a few positions there, Brandon Allen in ninth, and one of the new guys, DJ Zygarde, in 10th. So as far as we know, Snyder's still staying in. There's still a few trucks on pit lane. That would be Terry Lowell, Roberto Crown Jr., although Roberto is now leaving, albeit late. And Terry Lowell is the last man standing on pit lane in that number 9 Ford. So now the top 10 is being shifted a little bit since Anderson led for maybe a few thousand feet. And that was about it. I think he led one singular lap, but didn't get to actually stay there. So right now, this is the first yellow of the race, and it wasn't even some sort of complicated big one. You know, it wasn't like it was a wreck that took out several cars. Snyder is still on the track. He's in the back. There he is. He's being scored as 31st, one lap down. Now, the 9, as we had talked about maybe 30 seconds ago, they're still on pit lane. They're either getting service done or they are serving the longest black flag since Kyle Busch flipped off the race official. It's, what was that, 2011? It was during the COT era, and it was during that era where Kyle Busch was possibly the meanest driver to ever embrace the face of NASCAR. A lot of people liked him, a lot of people hated him. I was one of the people that hated him. Because, you know, why wouldn't I? He was, you know, from what I had thought, Kyle Busch was being sort of someone who was hurting the integrity of the sport. And I thought the same about Kurt Busch as well, his brother, his older brother. But then, over time, I've seen that these Busch brothers, they have improved and they have gotten themselves to a better standing. Not just in the points, but, you know, like, for the radio chatter and everything, yeah, they're still going to complain about their cars. Everybody complains about their cars because that's what they do as a driver. They report to their spotter and their crew chief. But at least, you know, they weren't, like, just absolutely having mental breakdowns on the radio. That's all I'm saying. Felix Anderson goes high. Anthony Elliott goes low. We'll have another double file restart here from Kansas in the Werner Industries 200. Jackson Snyder smacks the wall, and now Anderson with a chance to bring Motor Dash Racing their first victory. Top 10, Anderson, Elliott, Coppola, Waltrip, Brown, Arnsdorf, Jones, Ross, Allen, and Wilson. Green flag on lap 22. We are officially halfway done here at Kansas. Oh boy, 72's slow. That's not what you wanted to see. As now Terry Lowell is coming up onto the track. What are you doing, number 9 car? Terry Lowell is now re-entering the track. Just as we went green, they're being scored as only one lap down, but I'm sure that might change as they're meeting up with the other lapped car in the circuit, Jackson Snyder. Felix Anderson out of the lead, and now Christian Coppola back in the lead. World Ultrap's going to make the pass. Whoa! Coppola way out of the groove. He almost made contact with the 5. Now Henry Brown, native of Lisbon, Portugal, going to try to get his first win. And the first win for the MSCCT in any division from a European country in a long time. I can't even tell you the last time. Maybe Carlos Rex when he won at Watkins Glen? I don't know. You tell me. As the yellow is out, we have a big spin. Ryan Adama has blown up, and Terry Lowell's also been caught up in it as well, along with Aiden Segal, AJ Pollock, and even... who was that on pit lane? That's the 62 of Carter Jones. Let's take a look at what happened. This is obviously not what I had expected, since these guys were running outside of the top 30, and this happened. And I think I can see, and I think everybody else can see, what in the world went down. Let's take a look. So, I mean, this is pretty cut and dry. Segal was trying to get through the middle here between the, it looks like the 4 of Jules Rosen and the 87 of Alex Pollock. They all kind of get together, and then the 31 kind of traps himself in there, and then they all run up the track, and Bianchi gets him into the wall. So then Wilson gets caught up in it, Jones gets caught up in it, Crown barely gets through, and then watch the 92, he slams into the 62, and essentially that's why he got the whole front hood knocked off of that thing, because the 62 wasn't even that badly involved. He was just wrong place, wrong time. And same thing said with the 73 of Ryan Catawa. There's the 84 of Dakota Bennett. Looks like he got some damage. The 66 of Lucas Alcaponte. Oh, my goodness. And then the 9 of Terry Law. Oh, wow. 62 of Carter Jones actually went on his lid and flipped 3 times before landing. I was wondering why he had all that roof damage. That's going to be the first guy we're going to look at. The 62 of Carter Jones making his truck debut. And it's not ending on a good note. Let's take a look. See, he tried to get going. He tried to refire the thing, and then it didn't work. And it's hard to do, and it's hard to make that successful when it doesn't work. So let's take a look from the hood of the number 92 of Ryan Adama, running outside of the top 25, pretty far in the back, but he still ends up getting involved and out for the rest of the day. Told you, wrong place, wrong time. That's what happens. And then you can see right behind him, 62 of Carter Jones was spinning and flipping. So yellow is back out rather quickly on lap 26 out of 41. Which would mean we'd probably have about 15 laps to go. World Ultra looking for a first win in any division. Same with everybody in the top... everybody in the top 6. Because Darian Arnsdorf, who's back in 7th, has 1 win in the Cup Series, which was at Walt Disney World Speedway in Season 2. He hasn't won since. And actually, a good friend of Darian Arnsdorf, Draken Smith, in the 7, and also an acquaintance of Arnsdorf, Anthony Elliott, they're running right behind him. So, I mean, Elliott started on the inside on the restart, on the last restart. When we went green, I believe that was lap 21 that we went green. So, put that in consideration. I think the 72 has the equipment to stay up at the front. I mean, he's still in the top 10 after all this time. But the fact that he started on the inside of a restart, double file, and he couldn't even hold his line before they got to the start-finish line, that makes me worried for how effective he's going to be in not holding up the rest of the pack. That's going to be something that will be a factor to look at as we go along, but now it's time for the double file restart. Your top 10, World Ultra, Henry Brown, Felix Anderson, David Iller, who finished 2nd last week at Talladega, Christian Coppola, Isaac Nordic, Darian Arnsdorf, Anthony Elliott, Draken Smith, and Jules Rosen in the top 10. Lap 28 of 41 from the Werner Industries 200 at Kansas. Green flag is back out for World Ultra. Henry Brown's got a little bit of right side damage to his car. Oh, they're already 3 wide in the corner. This is going to go great. Isaac Nordic really tried wedging that gap. He was trying to fill a hole that wasn't there, and somehow he managed to do it without wiping out half the field. Oh, now they're 3 wide. 4 wide as Stephen Bianchi sticks his nose in there, his battered nose. really close for second between Brown and Anderson. Oh boy, here comes Arnsdorf making big contact with Stephen Bianchi. They're not happy with each other. They're gonna let off. I mean, they're running in the top 15. They got a big cluster of cars behind them. You don't want to wreck the field behind you. Also, there's the 84 Dakota Bennett still running. I mean, a lot slower than everybody else, but this will be interesting. Here we go again. David Iller now in second, about a half second solidly behind Werner Daltrip with 12 to go. Now Henry Brown losing almost all momentum that he even had. Drake and Smith sliding up the track, and the 72 of Anthony Elliott making an impeccable save. Here comes the 00 of Dan Wilkins into the top 5. He qualified, I think, 4th to last. He was outside of the top 25. Now he's back. He's in the top 5. He's running in 5th. Daltrip was Daltrip was fastest in the second and final practice, which doesn't make me that surprised why she's leading. When you're fast in practice and you don't need that much draft help at a track like Kansas, that's why you can be successful. Dan Wilkins losing the groove. Trying not to get turned by the 35. Man, they're side by side with the 71 of DJ Zygarde. I mean, Jules Rosen was fastest in first practice. Well, guess what? He qualified 23rd, and then in final practice, he qualified, he didn't qualify. Outside of the, 23rd place qualifying run, he finished outside of the top 25, I believe it was 28th in second and final practice. Which makes you think, was that 28.995 run that he had in first practice, which ended up being the fastest of the day, except for the great qualifying run from Sony Ross that got the pole? Makes you wonder. That lead that Werner Daltrip had has now quickly shrunk. It's still there. It's still in existence. Right now, it's just a lot smaller than what it used to be. It was a half second, almost 6/10, just a few laps ago, and now it has shrunk to under 2/10 as Darian Arnsdorf gives Werner a challenge. Here he comes off of 2. He might try to make a pass here, as Jules Rosen will do with Iller. Now they're basically doing a side-by-side side draft in tandem here, going into 3. Arnsdorf with a big run. He takes the lead, and man, the 5 just lost all momentum. They're single file. Jules Rosen now in 3rd, trying to... I don't know how effective drafting would be at a track like Kansas, but honestly, if it works, it works. Whatever floats your boat. As Waltrip slides up the track a little bit, now Arnsdorf at jeopardy of losing his spot if Jules Rosen gets a great run. Maybe I shouldn't have doubted his practice run. Maybe he just didn't want to run as fast in second practice, or maybe he was using a different truck. I don't know. Whatever you want to believe. Lap 36 out of 41. Closing in. Speaking of closing in, look at who's coming off of turn 4. Dakota Bennett. Darian Arnsdorf in the lead. This would be his first win in any division since Season 2 at Walt Disney World Speedway. This would be great for his team, the ASST. He's a partial owner, along with the 14 of Carlos Rex in Cup, who isn't running in any other divisions at this time. He ran in the MTHSS, but he never really had that success. Here comes Jules Rosen. He's looking for revenge, but he gets held up by the 84. Although the 84 is now... Oh, the 84 might not have been as much of a martyr as I had thought. Although this gives Darian Arnsdorf a clear path to victory. Was it a sabotage move or just a freak act? I don't know, but that's not going to help anybody who's trying to get positions right now. That's not going to help Iller. That's not going to help Rosen. That didn't help Waltrip or Nordic. It didn't help any of them, because now that lead is back out to a half second with just 4 laps to go. Oh boy, that was something. But now Rosen's closing in. His last lap wasn't as fast. He had a 30.97, or excuse me, 791 as compared to Arnsdorf, who had a 30.475. This lap for him was a 29.981. Guess what? Rosen is 0.2 of a second faster. 29.745. The current fastest lap is actually Felix Anderson with a 29.051. Only two drivers got a 28.9 all day. That was Sonny Ross in qualifying and Jules Rosen in the first practice. Also, Arnsdorf lead dropped by 0.2 of a second on that last lap. Does it drop more here? Yes, it does. Another 10 shaved off. Here he goes. He's going to go to the inside with 2 to go. Here comes Rosen. He's got to run. Coming off of 2, they're side by side. The AT&T Chevrolet of Jules R. Rosen has cleared Darian Arnsdorf for the lead with 2 laps to go. As now there's a truck blowing up. It's Alex Pollock. And the yellow flag is out before the leaders cross the start-finish line. It's Iowa all over again, folks. So now you can take a breather and sip on your glass of water, as that is insanity. Wow. Jules Rosen was about, I'd say, less than 500 feet from securing a win. Are they wrecking behind him? Oh yeah, we got a big wreck in 3. Lucas Al Capone and Adam Wilson is stopped on the track. In fact, Jackson Snyder's going to turn to 66. Oh my goodness. Chaos under yellow. Now, well, we're going to take a look at the root of the caution that caused Alex Pollock some issues. Okay, so Alex Pollock had been blowing up for a while. Yeah, there he goes. From the 24th spot. I mean, that's not what you want to see. Definitely a sputtering engine. I mean, that was... And then they stayed green. This was where it had been when he started to blow up. Arnsdorf hadn't even gotten passed by Rosen yet. He was still on the bottom of the track. But here's the thing. He was still basically dumping oil all over the track and fluid, so they had to bring out the yellow. But you know what the crazy thing about this is? I want you to take a look at the 4 of Jules Rosen. Okay? I want you to take a look at when the caution lights come on. They're going to be right here. I can't zoom in or anything, but just watch and see if you notice when they come on. Okay, so not here, right there. So green right here. Yellow right there. That's when they throw the yellow. And maybe if the caution wasn't thrown 2 seconds later, race would have been over. Jules Rosen would have gotten his first career win. So now that's in jeopardy because we don't know, with this 2-lap green-white checkered, will Rosen be able to hold on to his spot? Especially since with, you know, a lot of the leaders being forced up high on the double file restart when they go into formation. If the inside line is as good as the drivers say it is, and as I've been showing with you for the last 43 laps, does that mean that Darian Arnsdorf, if he goes to the inside, will he be able to take advantage of it and get a win? Or does the second row guy on the inside get that run? Although that might all change. We got some guys that are breaking from the pack right now, breaking from that pace line formation. We might have a few takers on pit road. We will have a few takers on pit road. Yup. So pit road is open. Arnsdorf, Gingrich, Drake and Smith, David Iller coming on in. There's Christian Coppola, Roberto Crown, Dan Wilkins, Sonny Ross, Fletcher, Elliott, Allen, Freeman Jr., and Jones. That looks like that's all the takers. There's Drake and Smith coming on in. So yeah, I probably spoke too soon. I didn't even realize that there were going to be that many takers on pit lane. That makes you wonder another thing. You know who's in second right now? Isaac Nordic. This could very well mean that, you know, I'm just saying, he could capitalize and get that run. In a formation they should go shortly. Here we go. Oh! They're all staying up high. Now Henry Brown... Whoa! Big crash in 3! The yellow is back out. As now they're all stacking up and Christian Coppola went on his nose. What in the... What did I just see? Jackson Snyder, Micah Gingrich, Ricky Freeman Jr. Now the pace lights are off, so we're going to do this again, but... Oh my gosh. They wrecked all under yellow. Huh? Okay, so how did this... why are you going 150? That is completely uncalled for. They rammed into the back of everybody under yellow. That is... ugh. Ay, ay, ay. So you want to try this again? You want to go and dance again? You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. Although we might have another yellow lap as Stephen Bianchi is slowing down and almost stopped on the front stretch. His engine's not even running. He's in full clutch mode. Henry Brown is going in from the 5th position. Is Bianchi off the track? He's not off the track. The pace car is in. Several trucks are going to the pits. And Jules Rosen and Anthony Elliott will have to duke it out for themselves on the green-white checkered. What in the world is happening? Also, the 31 is still stopped on the track. He's still stuck on the track. He can't go anywhere. We're still green. Bianchi is completely stopped. Jules Rosen is out in front, and he will come to the pit lane along with everyone else. Who passes to his outside? The white flag is out. Who's in the lead? It's Roberto. No, it's Brandon Allen. Where is the 83? Is the 83... No, the 83 is on pit lane. This should mean that it might be the 39 of Sony Ross. As long as they... No, Sony Ross is good. This is Iowa all over again. Oh my gosh. Segala's coming in. Whoever crosses the start line under green on the start finish line, it might be Henry Brown. Henry Brown crosses the stripe as a potential winner. Although now, where is the 83? Where is the 83? Here comes the 83 of Brandon Allen off of the pit lane with 1 lap to go. We're still monitoring everything to make sure that everybody's in the right place. Henry Brown now coming in the pit lane. Allen coming out on track. Does he have to beat anybody back, or is he going to be clear to go? They're declaring the race over as the 95 is blowing up. They're saying that Lucas Holmes is the winner, but did we have the same situation that we did in Iowa? Did we have the same situation that we did in Iowa? Did he cross the start-finish line? Yes, he did. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to see, just to make sure. So he was in 14th when the white flag came out. And then he jumped up to 6th, and I assume that's where he passed the 83. Yeah, that's where the 83 was just coming off pit lane. I didn't notice the 29 because our scoring was all out of whack. So this was a very confusing finish, but we're just running it back for you so you can see how Lucas Holmes ran this last lap. So a very confusing finish, but at least this race does not have to end under review. It will end under a concrete finish. Lucas Holmes has won the Werner Industries 200 at Kansas. Felix Anderson second. Nate Rellum in third, despite absolutely blowing his engine as soon as he crossed the line. Did it really blow up as soon as he crossed the line? Yup, blew up maybe 100 feet before the start-finish line, and he still got third. Got to give him props for that. So your top 10 from Kansas: Lucas Holmes, Felix Anderson, Nate Rellum, Werner Daltrip, Anthony Elliott, Draken Smith, Henry Brown, Dan Wilkins, Sonny Ross, your pole sitter, and the 24 of David Iller. From Kansas, this is part 1 of the Cup Trucks doubleheader in rounds 9 and 2, as Micah Gingrich is not done yet. He wants to finish this race. Micah Gingrich is a lap down. He wants to finish this race. I assume. He's still going out there. He's the only truck out on track. Everybody else has gone to the garage. Before you go, let's just take a ride around with him. Guess what? Now he's done. So Micah Gingrich finishes in the 21st position after doing an extra lap. This is all from Kansas Speedway. It is a first career win for Lucas Holmes in the 29. We'll see you guys next time from this track, same place, for the Cup race, the H&R Block 400.